Okay, so another day with me gone and Mrs. Goodart filling in. This is a valuable warm-up not only for your assignment today, but also for your quiz next Friday. So I'd make sure I'm following along, checking my answers, and adjusting as I need. Probably want to have my notes out as I'm working through this. That would definitely be helpful. The notes we took yesterday give you a lot of the rules that you need. The directions say to find each product or quotient. Remember, product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Quotient is the answer to a division problem. So we're looking at both of these as multiplication and division. Number one, negative 9 times 8. We're multiplying there. And what I want you to notice is the 9 is negative and the 8 is positive. Since we see that they have different signs, our rule was when we're multiplying or dividing integers with different signs, we know our answer will be negative. So I'm going to put the negative there. Now I just need to know what 9 times 8 is. 9 times 8 is 72. So because they had different signs, my answer is a negative 72. Compare that to number 2. Now we're using division, negative 56 divided by negative 7. In this case, both numbers are negative. We talked about it yesterday, but when we're multiplying or dividing numbers with the same sign, then our answer is going to be positive. So I know it's positive. 56 divided by 7 gives me a positive 8. Compare this to number 3. Again, division, but in this case, they have different signs. I have a negative divided by a positive, and it's not so much the order that matters. What matters is they have different signs. If they have different signs, my answer is going to be negative. And 24 divided by 6 gives me 4, so my answer is negative 4 for the first 3. That takes care of you. Next couple, number 4 and number 6. You might want to star and look into your notes a little bit, but these are definitely some tricky problems that we talked about yesterday. 0 divided by 12. Remember, if I start with 0 to begin with, then I'm going to have 0 at the end. 0 divided by any number is 0. It doesn't matter if it's positive, negative, whatever. 0 divided by any number is 0. When I start with 0 at the beginning, I'm going to end with 0 at the end. Number 5, a little division. 75 divided by negative 5. Similar to problem 3, we have division with different signs, so we know our answer is going to be negative. And then that's something that you want to know. 75 divided by 5. If I didn't know that division fact, I might come over here and just kind of quickly think up, well, how many times is 5 go into 7? And then how many times would 5 go into 25? And I see that that's 15. So a 75 divided by negative 5 would be a negative 15. 6 is similar to 4, but notice in this case we're not starting with 0. We're starting with 15. 15 divided by 0. Cannot have 0 on the bottom of a fraction. Cannot divide by 0. The answer anytime we're dividing by 0, remember, is undefined. And please check your spelling using your notes. 3 more examples. In this case, negative 5, negative 3, negative 2. We're multiplying all of those numbers. A little trick that we talked about very briefly yesterday, but I want you to notice. We know that 2 negatives will make a positive when we're multiplying and dividing, but then we also see this other negative. Remember, if we have an odd number of negatives when multiplying or dividing, our answer will be negative. If we have an even number of negatives when we're multiplying and dividing, our answer will be positive. So since we have an odd number of negatives, I know my answer is going to be negative. Now I can just do the multiplication. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. My answer is negative 30. Pay close attention to 8 and 9. This will help you quite a bit with your assignment today. Remember, exponents, that's the idea of repeated multiplication. Negative 2 to the 4th power is the same thing as a negative 2 times a negative 2 times a negative 2 times a negative 2. I just said the shortcut here is count up the number of negatives when you're multiplying and dividing. In this case, since we have a power of 4, we should have an even number of negatives. If we have an even number of negatives, I know my answer will be positive. Now I just need to think about what 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is. 2 times 2 gives me 4, 4 times 2 gives me 8, and 8 times 2 gives me 16, and it would be a positive 16. Number 9, another exponent problem, but notice in this case it's to the 3rd power. So this would be a negative 3 times a negative 3 times a negative 3. Odd number of negatives tells me that my answer will be negative, and 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. Negative 3 to the 3rd power should be a negative 27. Last problem on your warm-up is a word problem. A submarine at sea level begins descending at a rate of 22 feet per second. So it's descending. Began at sea level, started descending at 22 feet per second. What will the depth of the submarine be after 8 seconds? Some important things to notice. Descending means to go down. We are going down at a rate of 22 feet per second. That tells me every second we're going negative 22 feet. So that'd be the first number I want to know. Second number, if we're doing 22 feet down per second, the other idea is that we're going to do this for 8 seconds. So each second we're losing 22 feet. I want to know how far we're going to be after 8 seconds. I'm going to multiply negative 22 times a positive 8. We see different signs. We know our answer should be negative. You might not know this multiplication off the top of your head. That's fine. Come down here and make sure that you get your multiplication correct. The depth of that submarine after 8 seconds should be negative 176 feet since it is below sea level. That takes care of the warm-up. For the rest of the day, you are working on the assignments you got yesterday in class. Mrs. Goodart also has a good assignment with a lot of word problems to help you for your quiz next Friday. Reminders, tomorrow we will be math testing. You need to come to this class. We'll have a warm-up, but bring your math materials and a reading book. You shouldn't finish tomorrow, but you definitely should finish Friday, so you want to prepare for that. Math testing Thursday and Friday. Have a good rest of the day. Be good for Mrs. Goodart, or I will punish you severely.